G'day, I'm Sydney Chris. I am the Baz Lemon of RPGs, and this is Drawing the Owl, episode 8. We are talking about playbooks, and I am the most full of like spicy chili ramen right now. So if I make it through this without passing out, I'm gonna just have the best time. Now I am using a new microphone, and it's in a slightly different setup, so I'm just gonna check my levels quickly, which should take more. Okay, that's good. That's gonna work for us. Um, Chat's live. I'm live, and we're going to talk about playbooks. Now, playbooks are really interesting because this is going to be the last thing that I need to get done before this game is going to be in what I consider to be a playtestable shape. Um, the issue is that playbooks are really important because playbooks are where, much like moves, are where characters interact, where players, sorry, interact with the game. The defining nature of a role playing game is the creation of that role. Boy, this chili ramen, super spicy, a lot of like chili garlic oil, and it's just been phenomenal. Spicy garlic oil, it's been just the best. But I am gonna die at some point. So I want to talk about. I'll show you what I've got here so far, and I hope you're as excited as I am. It's a blank Google Doc. This is really exciting because I don't think we've had a blank Google Doc in a long time. We haven't started at zero in forever. So here's the important thing that needs to be on a playbook for me. We're going to go and look at some playbooks. We're going to have a bit of a think about them. I've got like 3 or 4 in mind that I want to look at that have really spoken to me. But we're going to talk about why they're important. Now, before we go any further, we need to talk about like what the end product looks like. So what is the end product of this? Because I am in no mood. I am determined to get this to a shippable state. Not shippable state. I'm determined to get this to a playable state today. So I will actually get I'll get this to a playable data set, and then I will turn it into something that's pretty enough and functional enough to play. Something that we can access online because we're going to be doing all our playtesting online. So end product is going to be, and this might be a thing, we're going to do a single playbook with, and it's going to have the mechanical necessities. So that's going to be, mechanical necessities is going to be like, so stats is one of them because I have a game with stats. It's going to have names and pronoun fields. And it's going to have, what else is a mechanical necessity for me? Some sort of like hex group building thing. Something to get us started right off the bat. And this is something you'll notice in all of my games. If you're watching this and you really want to see how my jamming influences my design, you should watch Lady Blackbird. And if you want to see an example of it that I'm going to do on purpose, it would be my Monster of the Week that's coming up in July. So Wednesdays in July, I'm doing a 4-shot Monster of the Week campaign, and it's going to start. It's going to start with action. I know a lot of people, including GMs that I look up to, including GMs that like I idolize, want to start a game with a real slow roll. Like, okay, so let's figure out who you are. Let's watch you in your native habitat. Let's see what you do before we see how it changes. On the other hand, I am very much about like there was Adam Coble ran an Apocalypse World game, and he started it by turning to Andrew Gillis and saying to them, "Who's this person? Why do they have you by the throat?" And like they've got a gun to your chest. Like it was basically like he started it here, and then the game stepped up into resolving that action, and then it rested. So like starting here, stepped up to resolve, and then rested below. And I quite like that. I think if you start low, like here, and you build up. That's a very valid way of doing it. But it's not how I want this game to start, because this game is driven so much by the idea of scarcity. If I start them from a position of strength and calm, I'm going to give them space, and I don't want to give them space. This isn't a game about space. It's a game about being oppressed and needing each other kind of from the start. So that's what our group building is kind of going to do. So we're going to talk about mechanical necessities, history, group building, and situation creation. This is also going to work as a GM tool, which is nice. I'm hoping that a lot of this works as a cross GM tool and stuff. All right, so well, this is really easy. So what we need is I'm playtesting with 4 characters. So we need 4 characters worth of room. We need it to say, what was it? Guts, luck, and bonds. Oh, we also need a way to generate stats. Stats generation. Oh, we need starting. Well, I guess that's part of situation creation, isn't it? So situation creation includes starting, scrap, and harm, I guess. Like, basically, I don't want people to be starting with 0 harm and 0 scrap and stuff, which is interesting. So 4 characters worth of room for guts, luck, and bonds. That's really easy. I need principles, player principles. Let's just do this for now. Let's make these basically subheadings. We'll talk about how we're going to do them. Okay. What's player meant to be? Oh, principles. Principles. I didn't talk about that up here, did I? No. Okay, let's talk about player principles and why they're important. So player principles are useful for a couple of reasons. One is that they offer a way for... I'm just trying to find fellowship here because it might be in my RPGs folder. So player principles offer players a list of things to do when they don't know what to do. How do I not have fellowship? I was playing it the other day. Fellowship. Okay. That's fine. I have to do this the hard way. Yes, so that's the plan, is that player principles are going to be all about what to do if you don't know what to do. The example for this is like, so the dungeon world ones of fill the characters' lives with adventure and all that sort of stuff. That's really GM focused. Like, I don't think dungeon world ever. Let's pull up dungeon world while I'm looking for fellowship. Dungeon world. Dungeon world handouts, spreads, character sheets. Might be on character sheets. Basic moves. Special moves. Okay, GM. Here we go. So this agenda, this portray a fantastic world, fill the characters' lives with adventure, play to find out what happens. There's absolutely no reason that shouldn't be shared with the players. In fact, I think it was Austin's friends at the table who took to reading that out ritualistically at the start of their game, and that caused this really good ritual of hey, never forget that you are a part of this. Never forget that this is a game that you're involved in, and that it's that we have a job to do essentially, and that's very true of Austin's work because he is operating in a what would you call it, in an audience environment. But when we are our own audience, it's important to remember these as well. Now, so I guess it's more of a player agenda than player principles. So these player principles, draw maps, leave blanks. Yeah, that's useful, but I don't think I'd want to give any of these to the characters. I think I'd probably have that as a character one, think dangerous, maybe begin and end with a fiction, but I don't think I would give them their own list of principles and stuff like that. So let's have a look over here at Fellowship. Fellowship is oh boy, I couldn't even tell you who wrote Fellowship, which is because I haven't read it cover to cover. So that's very embarrassing. I'm sorry to whoever it was. I will have your name up for the next one because I'm sure I'm going to talk about Fellowship again. So Fellowship is a game about dungeoning and going on big adventures and being the Lord of the Rings party and stuff like that. So here, let's talk about this agenda. You have 3 agendas. Your agendas are: be brave, take risks, tell us of your people, improve the world around you. So, interesting. Is that true of? I'm pretty sure it is improve the world around you for everyone, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So this is the who have I flipped to here? The halfling? No, the elf. So the elf has these 3 agendas, but then every character picks their own agenda, which is something that only they follow. Elven superiority: protect lesser creatures, eternal patience, play the long game, you have all the time in the world, perfect purity, punish those who defile the sanctity of elven lands. Now you'll notice this is almost this is filling the same role as the alignment for Dungeon World. So leap into danger without a plan, avoid detection or infiltration, shift danger or blame to someone else, and that is filling that same role as protect people, play the long game, and that sort of stuff. This does a couple of things. Elven superiority is a really bad example of it, but these ones start with verbs and are very actionable. Actionability is something that we want in agendas. Leap, avoid, shift danger, right? We want these to be really this is very, very nicely well written, and it's very easy to find the verb in there, but we want it to be a little bit more verb focused. So let's take away the things that we're looking for there. And while I'm talking to you, I'm also going to pull up Apocalypse World because we're going to have a look at Granddaddy's agendas as well. We're also going to have a look at someone who does agendas very interestingly. Basic ref book, and there's that one. Play materials, GM sheet. And I need one more. I think it would not be an hour episode if I didn't talk about Monster Hearts, but we're going to talk about masks instead because I don't know what masks is. So I'm not sure what the answer is going to be for masks. So we're going to learn that together, which is really exciting. I love learning stuff with you guys. So, okay, the agendas for players, we want them to be actionable because, as Fellowship says in exact words, when you don't know what to do, consult your agendas. And I think that's a really good, I'm not sure if that's how Apocalypse World presents it, but I think that's a really, really good idea to take forward. So this is where Apocalypse World falls on it. Yeah. Screen share. Okay. Make Apocalypse World seem real. Make the player characters' lives not boring. Play to find out what happens. Always say, I like always says, but I'm gonna have to talk about it because I want to talk about pacing. So pacing is a really important thing for me. We need to get some of this stuff down before I forget it. So let's just go over here quickly and we'll say player principles. We're going to say, and when I say player, it includes all player principles, which all player, including GM or MC or whatever we call it, principles. So it's going to go verb focused, and it's going to be actionable, and it's going to be visible at the table, so we're going to know when it happens. And we also have oh, Kyle, I just saw your chat thing. Which is that Fellowship you've never read? And yeah, you're right, like absolutely right. Like talking about pacing in Apocalypse World is that there's a reason that Apocalypse World doesn't always say what pacing demands, because Apocalypse World is so I don't want to say gentle, because it's not gentle, but Apocalypse World is so safe for the PCs. You are so powerful. If you die, you just get stronger. It takes a shitload of stuff to like knock you around. Apocalypse World is so safe to PCs. You never have to worry about pacing. But in D&D 5th edition, which is hopefully someone's familiar with, in D&D 5th edition, you need to be worried about pacing. You cannot send your first level party up against a dragon, right? You can send a first level dungeon world party up against a dragon, and it's going to work out. You might be getting into that problem of like, where do we go from here? Like it's the increasing levels of absurdity leading to like jumping the shark, but a dungeon world first level party can go up against the dragon because of the 16 hit point dragon effect, right? Like that it's about fictional positioning, and it's about what they can generate in the world. And especially because dungeon world characters don't grow up, they don't get more powerful, they grow out for the most part. They get like, you get stat increases, but for the most part, you get more variety by leveling up. In D&D 5th edition, that's not true. You get significantly more powerful. You cannot send your first level party up against a CR 14 dragon, because it will they will have no chance. It will wreck them, and it will ruin the pacing of your game. In Apocalypse World, that is never true, because there is almost nothing that is stronger than your PCs, and if they do go out and they die, like, so fucking what? They're just going to come back weirder. They're going to go make a new city. They're going to go do a different thing. They're going to like, it's a game about it's a game that doesn't pace through mechanics. It paces through the story and through what you can accept as people, and your cinematic thinking. Huddled Together, which is my new working title as of 45 minutes ago, is a game that relies on pacing because it has an economy, and it's a game that relies on the table controlling the pacing, which we will get to. So we're going to write down the word pacing as well. Pacing. All right. So what other words do we need to add into this? So a lot of games take this make the world seem real thing. I really like it, but it's I don't think it's actionable. I think that this is actioned by always say, and actioned by the principles about like name everyone, make everyone human, right? I don't think that make Apocalypse World seem real is something that I can put on a character sheet and be like, so now you know how to play the game. Actually, this is going to be a really interesting point. Functionally, playbooks need to be good enough that you can put it down in front of someone who's never played the game and be like, have a quick look over that. I will talk you through the rest. If you put it in front of someone and it said make Apocalypse World seem real, I don't think they could generate that. I don't think. Granted, these agendas are not player facing. That's not Vincent's intent. Whereas Dungeon World, our other one, let's find our GM page again. Portray a fantastic world. I think that if you put this in front of someone, if you said portray a fantastic world, they would understand that. Blake, good point. The world is interactive, so you're right. Like it's the PC's actions have consequences. The events are not created by PCs. I would go so far as to say that Apocalypse World has the problem where the horizon stops at the PCs at the end of the PC's eye line, but I have feels about that. So this is the difference between actionability. Let's have a look at Alas, because I really like Alas's print. Now, Alas doesn't have an agenda, but they do have really good principles. So own the tone, ask lots of questions, put the player at the center, make the world react, go where the players lead, make changes between sessions. Okay, what do we need to show players? I mean, so I spoke to, I was lucky enough to speak to Haley and V. If you haven't seen that, you really should. It's an amazing interview with two very wonderful people who just bounce off each other and have such glorious chemistry and are kind enough to share it with me. Haley is of the opinion that the setting principles are what makes Alas Alas, which we can talk about. I don't want the playbook to have setting principles, so if I'm going to write them, I'll write them in later. These GM principles, though, the ones about I have spicy hiccups. The ones about owning the tone, asking lots of questions, and putting the players at the center of the conflict. See, this is really good. This go where the players lead, because it implies that it's a character-driven thing. But I would, how do you make that character facing, right? So, okay, let's come back to here, and we're going to say good principles that we can steal / modify. Portray a fantastic world, which I really like. We're not gonna use the term fantastic. So we're not gonna portray a fantastic world. We've got fill the characters' lives with adventure, and we've got play to find out what happens, which I would like to find a better way to say play to find out what happens, but sure. Okay, so fellowship, be brave, take risks, tell us if the people improve the world around you. No, these are great for fellowship. Kyle, I recommend at least reading this, or at least reading the basic moves in the playbooks. What does fellowship do with playbooks that I really like? So fellowship codifies what Dungeon World wants to do sometimes. Some people want to do with Dungeon World about like building your own world. So in Dungeon World, where you've got this character that's like, you're a dwarf, like pick this move. This move is elf. Magic is as natural as breath to you. Detect magic is a cantrip. Okay, so like that's super cool. That tells you about elves. On the other hand, in our good friend Fellowship over here, they've got this like what is an elf section over on this top right. And what is an elf is you actually choosing what elves mean in this game. So like, are you fairy folk, merfolk, star elves, wood elves? Like it's super cool assertion of species, which is something that Dungeon World can do, but struggles to do with as written. And a lot of people get around by like talking about backgrounds or heritage moves or whatever. Also, there's this phrasing in it about when you choose custom moves, you further define what it means to be an elf. It really hammers this point about you are the proto elf, and therefore, like what you choose defines elves. Which would be interesting if we started talking about like playing non-normative characters in their society, but we're gonna move. Yes. Yeah, so the idea of it feeling very 5th edition, like the subspecies, subrace thing that 5th edition does, absolutely. Okay, I'm getting mad off track. And Blake, I have seen your thing. I do want to talk about it, but I want to get a bunch of ideas down first before we start talking about like exactly what we're going to change these to. So let's talk about masks. Now, before we flick over to masks, we want to talk about masks conceptually. So, conceit, aim, tone, subject matter for masks is teenage superheroes who aren't really sure of themselves. Aim is to have like do the action and the feels sort of thing. Tone is this really like character focused. It's not a heavy tone. It's a very like pastel colored tone. It's very like bright and primary colors, primary colored tone. Uh, and subject matter, yeah, subject matter is game by game. So what have we got? Agendas. Make Halicon City, Halicon, Halcyon City feel like a comic book. Make the player characters' lives super heroic. Now, this is interesting. This is interesting because in Apocalypse World, we use the term Apocalypse World, which I took to mean the game structure, right? Like the discussions that you have within the game structure. But in Masks, it specifically refers to the fictional setting. Interesting. Make the city feel like a comic book. Make player characters' lives super heroic. Play to find out what changes. Oh, because Master's all about change. Yeah, Kyle, that's a good point. I haven't played Master. I've spoken about this before, but I haven't played it. But tonally, you're right. It is about growing up in a positive sense. Which is why this play to find out what changes is important. My body is changing. I wonder what happens. So we're going to add to our thing here. We're going to add to meta level or referencing fiction, which is that Apocalypse World versus Halcyon, Halicon City. Did we decide we wanted one of these? Make play of characters' life super heroic. That's a good. Make the world react. I like. Make the world react. I like. Make the world react because it implies that PCs have to be proactive. Interesting. Interesting. I wonder if there's another game in here that we can look at. Like, I will take a quick squiz through my thing. I don't think I want to look at Monster Hearts. I don't think I'm going to get too much out of it. Impulse Drive, I don't know. Mashed, I don't really know well enough. Night Witches goes for a really interesting tone. And I wonder if they've got. Let's have a look. I'm going to skim through this, and I don't want to give you all the sick. Night Witches handouts, maybe. GM. Okay, cool. Agenda is bring the war to life. That's not a bad one. Put them in the middle of the grind. Seek out their stories. Play to find out what happens. Good ones that are here are, for me, put them in the middle of the grind. So we're hitting that sort of pacing thing. And bringing the war to life. I don't think I want bring the war to life because I think it's got the same problem with make it feel real that I don't really dig. But we'll figure it out. So, oops, wrong page. So put them in the middle of the grind. Okay, cool. So we're going to get, this should be agenda, even though I've called it principles because player principles has that nice alliteration, agenda. So we're going to do an agenda really quickly. We're going to do an agenda for this game. It just needs to be notched out. It doesn't really need anything particular. So we're going to say, what did Blake say about this one? Portray a world, a war tearing the world apart. I like it, but I don't want to tear the world apart. I want the world to feel small. So remember, verb focused, actionable, visible at the table. Um, portray a fantastic world, fill the characters' lives with adventure. Play to find out what happens. All right. So what if we say portray a not scarce. Scarce is not the word I'm looking for. For the word like the infamity sort of thing, but that's fine. A scarce, crumbling city. So this is doing some tone work for us. All right. And then we've got scarce, crumbling city. It's doing tone and setting work at the same time, which is nice. This is the one that's the fill the characters' lives with adventure, like the one about making them proactive. So I want to say fill the characters' lives with problems and solutions. And finally, play to find out. I kind of want like play until you can't anymore sort of thing. Like this violates my idea about humane exit points. But I love this like play until you can't anymore sort of thing. I want to instead of like play to find out what happens, I want to play to find the edges. That's like character limits. Who breaks? Oops. Who changes? That's kind of what I want. I want like play to find the edges. This is all about the edges. Characters in this kind of safe middle area. I think play to find the edges might be a pacing thing as well. Play to find their edges. Oh shit. Co-writing credit Kyle over there. That's good. That's good. Because it is about character limits. It's not really about the world. I don't really care about the world's edges. Okay. Done. So they're pretty shit, but we got a lot more to do on this. So we're going to talk about what else we need about we'll go up one. So let's go for how are we gonna talk about how am I gonna mark these as like let's say so it in this italic caps. Okay. So 4 characters worth of room, names present. All right, so what do I need? So I need we're gonna say characters. So what are characters going to be made up of on the sheet? Now, this is a really interesting thing because characters. Some people love being defined by a sheet. Some people hate being defined by a sheet. I am one of the ones who really enjoys it, but I don't think I want to do it in the same way. So Haley said something during my interview with her, which was, and I want to get the actual wording, or at least as close as I can get. And by the way, again, if you want to know why I'm going to be even functional in this game, it's because I interviewed Haley and B. So demand buy-in and then support it. Help the GMs to convey the excitement that they have about the game to the players. Help the players to make the game their own, and I'm including the GM in that. Choices about gameplay, thematic or collaborative, not mechanical. Okay, this is something that Haley was talking about that was really interesting. In Alas for the Awful Sea, you make very little choices about your character outside of who are you, what are your stats, what's your descriptor. So you pick role, descriptor, stats, and then like sometimes you pick gear for some of them. Good society. I have good society on here. I have good society. Okay. Good society, on the other hand, is very much about you discuss, you get together at the beginning, you have this collaborative phase. Um, let's see if I can find it. So the idea behind the good society collaborative phase is exactly what Haley's talking about there, which is um, we don't we're not going to this. These are my notes from the thing, by the way. They're not going to be wonderful, but we're looking at this one here, this demand buy-in and then support it section. Um, help the GMs. I'm just going to get this out of the way. Sorry. Help the GMs to convey the things that are important about the game. So principles. Oh, Fall of Magic. We can absolutely talk about Fall of Magic before we do this. This is awesome. Okay, handouts, collaboration. Open this up. And I'm going to put it over here now. Now, this is from an early draft. Hopefully, Haley and V are totally cool with me looking at this. I don't think you guys can see this perfectly, but what it basically takes us through is the collaborative phase says what tone should the story have, how important is historical accuracy, and how we treat the gender power balance, and then like is there anything else you'd like to avoid? And it's a little bit will, want, won't, and it's a little bit lines and veils, but it's specifically about like setting this tone. Do you want to have a drama, a romantic comedy, a farce? And it really breaks it down into like whether there are a lot of consequences to actions or whether things kind of like get away from, like whether things kind of happen and then leave the scene very quickly. And the benefit to this is that it demands player buy-in, because if you sit there and you say, no, I really want this game to be I want this game to be farcical and I want it to be like this wild fucking ride and everyone's on board, then you all make characters that make the farce and then you all go and do that shit. So what I want to do is I want to buy players into like, if this game is played by a bunch of people in Texas and I say it's cold, like there's snow, and your resource is fuel to keep you warm throughout the night, people in Texas might not like buy into that. They might not be able to be like, oh yeah, the cold and the want of being cold and stuff like that. And I kind of don't. I don't want to run that risk. I don't want to like run the risk of throwing something at players that then they can say, well, I like this is the bit that doesn't grok for me, like really early on, because if they don't care about the conceit of the game, if they don't care about the tone and the initial situation and the characters they make, they will never care. They will never. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter who's fucking who. They will never care, and that's why Monster Hearts works as well as it does, because it makes you care at the start. You have been to high school, you have seen a high school movie or you whatever, and you get that teenagers are fucking complicated. And so you get in there, and when things are complicated and players say, oh, I feel disempowered, you're like, yeah, remember being a teenager? Fall of Magic, we're going to talk about. Kyle, you're absolutely right that Codex, Burning Wheel's Codex, does this a lot. And being Burning Wheel, it does it to the nth degree, like with a lot of like specific subheadings, which is great. So this is something that Fall of Magic does. If you haven't played Fall of Magic, if you haven't even read Fall of Magic, do it. It is an amazing game that is basically say cool shit the game, and I love it. So what happens is when we pass the book around and we read each of these aloud, it's a really ritualistic behavior. Afterwards, you make space to see if there's anything in the group would like to clarify. Okay, it's like a conversation. So we're going to listen. We're going to ask questions. We're going to bear witness to the things that inspire them and let them know what inspires us, right? We're going to, by the way, have a conversation, think small, be fantastic, is the agenda of Fall of Magic. So that's what we want to do. That's what we want. Our buy-in is going to come from our agenda. So yeah, don't plan too far ahead. Let it be a wondrous beast we chase but never capture. Now, I'm thinking I might have to have some sort of. I've already got play define their ages, but I'm thinking I might have to have something in the agenda about like them being teenagers, about them being not really like functional adults. Um, so I might have like fill the characters' lives with like drama and peril instead of um, problems and solutions. I'm just going to put problems and solutions in brackets with drama and peril, because I think the drama and peril really like the characters' lives with drama and peril and confuse the two. I don't know. Like I want them to be uh drama is that teenage thing of like I really like Michael, but Michael's like hooking up with Sally, and like that's a problem, and they're sharing beds, and I really want to. And peril is like the shit, we're running out of food thing. Um, so characters. What do we need to define? Let's go all the way back. What do we need to define for characters? I really think so. Fall of Magic. Let's keep talking about Fall of Magic. I'm on board for this. Fall of Magic, you choose like two things. You choose your name and you choose your location. I'm gonna have to bring the scroll up, which is great. I will take any opportunity to get the Fall of Magic scroll out. Scroll. Let's go for this will work. So when you create your three things, you also pick a token. When you create your thing, you choose your title. Are you the apprentice, the golem, or the raven of Ravenhall? Or are you the hero, midwife, or the swineherd of Barleytown? Are you the heir, knight, fugitive of Stormguard, giant, ranger, fox, Mistwood? And the thing is that each of these locations, each of these red things, exist in the game. Crab singer, you've got to be a crab singer of Astalia. So you choose a name, you choose a title, and that title is evocative and gives you a location to tie to. So I think I'm going to be a little bit more. I think I'm going to like have a mini Fall of Magic to begin this game, or more of a quiet year, but very, very similar concepts, right? So I'm going to say that to begin this, literally all I need to know about my characters is bullet points, names, pronouns, stats. So let's break these out, because I was talking to Ari about breaking things down and about how like as designers we often shorthand things. Like we'll say to ourselves, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set stakes. But that setting stakes conversation is actually like 16 mini conversations going on at once. And so what I like to do to see if what I'm doing is too complicated is to break it down into like, it's not names, and I assume pronouns, it's names, pronouns, guts, luck, bonds. And I'm going to put a star next to things that are going to change a lot, because then I need to know that they're functionally easier to I need to put them in places that are easy to change on the sheet. What else? I'm actually going to use a different symbol because I already use stars for everything else. I don't think we need anything else. I think that is a character. I don't even think, like, I've been thinking a lot about different ways of doing playbooks. So Monster of the Week, we can't go anywhere without talking about Monster of the Week, because it is the best PBTA game for playbooks. It beats Monster Hearts, it beats Apocalypse World itself, it beats Night Witches. Monster of the Week. Like shit, man. Monster Hearts is a close second, but it is second. So the playbooks. What's the best way for me to like? Maybe it's team concepts. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Here's where it is. So Michael Sands wrote Monster of the Week, and it has captured my heart with its playbooks. So, okay, I have a friend who's never played a role playing game before, but he's very interested in them. And I mentioned to her that I was going to play Monster of the Week. She said, "Oh, what are the characters like?" And I said, "Well, you've seen Buffy, right?" And she said, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, you can be a chosen, you're Buffy, or you can be the crooked, you're the dude that runs the store, Giles's dude, can't remember his name. You can be the divine, you're like an angel. I hadn't seen Supernatural, but she had, so we can talk about that. The expert, like it touches this like real Wesley. No, Wesley's the other guy. Sorry, Blake, I misled you. There's a guy that runs a magic shop, and he's like Giles's old partner from when he was a super bad dude, and he's crooked. Wesley's just a dude. Wesley's just a dude. He does not have his head about him. But yeah, monstrous, professional, mundane. You can. So I said before that one of the key parts of a playbook is that you sit it down in front of someone and you say, "We're going to play this game." By the time you've ticked every box in here, you need to understand your role in the society. Like you need to know why you're around. And so, being like the professional, which is Buffy's boyfriend Riley, from Buffy, that clicks with people. They're like, okay, yes, okay, I'm well armed. And by the way, that's why this thing that's also really important on playbooks that people fuck up a bit. Fellowship does this the weakest I've seen because it wants its playbooks to be really broad, and so it does it really, really weak. Is this? This is like this italics, this flavor text that comes with the playbook. Your birth was prophesized. You're the chosen one. Your abilities can save the world. It's like it's so perfect. Now, if I wasn't a massive hack, I would write something as good as Monster of the Week's playbooks. But two things. One, I'm not sure this is a game about individual playbooks. I'm not sure this is a game about being the something. And two, I definitely don't need it for playtestable. But I'll show you how I would do it because this is a show about process, right? So what I would do is I would do this. I would go to this page. I would open up a new one. And I would say tvtropes.com. And I would go to .org, whatever. I would go to tvtropes.org and I would type in what's Tomorrow When the War Began. So Tomorrow When the War Began is a thing about teenagers. It's an Australian movie. It's what this is all about. Really good book series. So Tomorrow When the War Began film. We're going to go through. There's got to be something in here about like a group, right? Group. Okay. Good guns, halfway plot switch. I should probably bring this up for you guys to make it. I'm just going to keep. So just all these tropes, right? And what I'm looking for is like the trope that is about like people being together. There's got to be something in here. What if I look for? What if I bring this up and I look up here for group? I'm looking for group trope. Blue Man Group, looking for group. Group, community study group. Okay, so the community study group's got to have a thing, right? Badass Crew is a good version. It's a good thing. What else have I got? Three Faces of Adam. True Command. Okay, this is kind of what. Yeah, see this shit that TV Tropes does about like breaking characters into like archetypes. This is a really good place to get ideas for. Is there like we found it. They'll turn up a lot when discussing the superhero team. It's not a superhero team. The squad, maybe the squad. 5-man band, maybe. Cool ship. No, we're not doing cool ship. Back. No, we're not doing that. Okay, this is all bad stuff. So we don't want baddies. We want goodies. So the squad. Very often the squad is composed of interlocking character types or roles. This is exactly what we're after. So we'd go through and we'd pull. There you go. The leader. Absolutely, we'd have some sort of leader. We would have. I don't think I'd want the shooter. We'd have a smart guy or a technical guy. The medic, the charismatic smooth talker, the big guy, point man, veteran. And you can use words like this. You can use words like the big guy, the point man, the face, like, and it connects. And that sort of connection makes it really easy to like. Here's an interesting one actually. So this is the 5-man band. It's the leader, the lancer, the smart guy, the big guy, the chick. Obviously some issues with some things there, but we can talk about that. This is all about like tropiness, right? So, but having like this sort of structure, I could write 5 very easy to understand playbooks off that. But we're not going to. We're going to do one. We're going to do one playbook. And it's going to be about the safe house. And it's going to define the situation of the game. The playbook is not about the individuals. It is about the group and the situation, because the individuals will figure out later. So I think this is enough for characters. I think we can find a character through there as long as we somehow get to this history group building, because you're going to be defined by your interactivity. Genre fiction works because it's generic. Fuck, that is so true, Kyle. That is absolutely true. Okay, history and group building. So, this is where I feel I'm actually going to go on situation creation, because this is where I feel the most settled at the moment, and it's because of a game called The Quiet Year, The Quiet Year. That's actually not a bad one, Blake, about 9 archetype words, circle 1 to 3. The thing I want to avoid is, because these characters are meant to feel real and have edges, I don't want to have, I don't want them to be tropey. But the idea of like 9 archetype words, circle 3, is actually not a bad one. There's actually a lot that I can do about that with like, let's put it up here, 9 archetype words, circle 3. It's actually X archetype words, circle Y, but I really like the idea. Is Michael G. Barford, my boy. The Quiet Year. The Quiet Year does some beautiful situation creation. So it begins with a premise, which is you're building a community, and then at the end of the year, it's gonna be destroyed, and everyone's gonna die, and that's okay. So here is how a Quiet Year works: abundances, scarcities, and names. So the way that it works is who we are. Anybody specific characters? Okay, so we're going to be different there. We're going to have to skip over that. We'll be presented with opportunities. Okay, starting resources. This is what I want to talk about. Actually, sketching terrain as well. So what happens is, before the game begins, we must establish some facts about the community and what its surroundings are like. We begin with, hey, Pat. We're talking about the Quiet Year, Pat, which is my favorite thing to talk about at the moment. So how about a community in a rocky desert? Everyone else nods in agreement. At this point, each of us. So this is what Haley's talking about with like generating player buy-in by demanding that they tell you what the game's about. So how about a community in a rocky desert? At this point, each of us should introduce one detail about the local terrain. When we introduce our detail, we sketch one contribution onto the map. Sketches should be rough and simple. Now, this is really cool because I can have this map be an artifact of play. I can have this map be something that the teenagers have on the wall or like on a table or something like that, right? So I can make players generate this. Let's just fucking look. You know what? Avery's a wonderful person, and as far as I'm aware, is not litigious. We're just going to steal this shit. So we're going to sketch some terrain. So situation creation is going to begin with sketching terrain. Now, sketching terrain is going to do two things. It's going to create a concept. So the rocky desert thing in Quiet Year kind of means something, but a rocky desert that our city is located in means something very different in a time of like war and scarcity, because it implies to us what we're going to have a lot of and what we're not going to have a lot of. So sketching terrain, which will also create like central city conceit, I guess. I literally only just wrote central city conceit because it's alliterative and that makes me happy. So we're going to talk about that. All right. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about, we're going to move that from where we are to what's happening. Now, Quiet Year does this by so next we declare an important resource for the community, something which we have either in abundance or scarcity. Some examples are, and then it gives you, now I have played this game where like legit someone said pigs. I love it. I'm all about it, but man, like it's a tone thing there, right? And that's the thing, is this is all tone management training for the group, right? It's if someone says, I want a game where pigs are our most important resource, and everyone else stays quiet and it's like, okay, we're going to go with that, then you're kind of locking yourself into that game where like you as characters have to care about the functional safety of these pigs, and whether you want to or not, you have bought into that, which, you know, like that's what this does. It creates that agreement. It creates that buy-in. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get them to pick resources. Choosing a resource makes it important if it wasn't already. So we're going to pick resources, and we're going to pick what do you reckon? 2, 3, 4. So at the moment in Quiet Year, you pick a number equal to the number of players, so that everyone gets a say. Should we say 3 people pick resources and then the last one picks? No, see, we've got 5 people at the table. So in this, we've got 5 people at the table. We've got an MC who doesn't necessarily need to get involved in this decision, but can. So we can have pick 4 resources, or we can say pick 3 resources. The last person will tell you which one's important. Or we can say, what if we said the first 3 people pick resources? The next person will tell you which one you have in abundance. Therefore, the other 2 are scarce. And then the MC will cross one off and be like, it's fucking gone. Like, you do not have this anymore. No. No, because the issue with that is your players, by putting it on the table, have said, please, I want to play with this. They've flagged it to you. Removing a flag doesn't make it interesting. Just because it's contrarian doesn't make it interesting. All right. We're getting tied up here. We're getting tied up in something that's not important, because this kind of economy will only come out through play. So let's go for 3 resources and hazard, like radiation or seismic activity, Blake. I like it. 3 resources and hazard. So we're already going to talk about hazards in the... So the GM is part of sketching terrain as well, which allows them to put in some hazards. So everyone should be putting in hazards, because we're playing to find the edges. We're filling the characters' lives with drama and peril, and we're confusing the two. So let's just say we do resources, and we're going to say 3 resources, 4th player defines one as abundant. What if we say 4 resources? The GM picks the first one, and then the fourth player picks one as abundant. One in abundance, one you desperately need, and one that was recently. Oh, fuck, Pat. Pat, you brutal dude. I love it. One you desperately need, one that was recently stolen from you. That's so good. Defines. Fourth player plays Fuck, Marry, Kill. It's Fuck, Marry, Kill with its one is abundant, one is a need, a desperate need. One was recently stolen. All right, that's legit. That's legit. By the way, these find scrap. So if you're playing in a cold Alaskan town, oh shit, I really want to get Ryan to run that one day. If you're playing in a cold Alaskan town and you're like, or a cold Alaskan city, because this needs to cover some ground, right? That's a central conceit of the game. And you put down, well, like gas, because we're gonna have a generator that keeps us heated, and we're gonna blah 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 blah. Then you can have gas in abundance, and that's fine. You're just always warm. But like food, if you want to talk about food, guns, if you want to talk about guns, like they're these they become what scrap is to your game. And when you've got a lot of scrap, like when you find lots of scrap, it can be this abundant stuff. And when you find like little bits of it, it can be the stuff that you like need, right? So I really like that. So sketching terrain, create central city conceit. Resources, 3 resources. Fourth player plays Fuck, Marry, Kill. One is abundant, one is desperate need, one is recently stolen. These define scrap. Now, the thing, we are like 90% towards what I want this playbook to be now. It sits on the table in front of everyone, so everyone's got a copy of basic moves, but there's one character sheet that everyone shares. The reason I'm interested in that, and the reason the 4 people watching this right now are interested in that, is that this mimics how we play in the Gauntlet. This mimics online usage of character sheets and character keepers. For those who don't play with the Gauntlet very often, I'm going to quickly drive.google.com. I'm just going to quickly find a character keeper, and I'm going to show you what they're like, because okay, this one doesn't really have any information on it, but that's fine. Oh, I have some from my dog's PBTA ones. Yes, and they've got dogs on them and all. And everyone who played with me signed over their rights to be upset when I show their characters. So this is what a character keeper looks like. I have to keep kind of changing the zoom because let's just bring it right out to 100%. So this is what it looks like, right? And then what it does is you can see that the 2 characters that were in this game, and they're both in here. We can see their stress and their XP and their demonic influence, and we can see when they take demonic influence and all that sort of stuff. Like we can see what they look like, what playbooks they are. We can see like all these things in front of us, where they've ticked off moves and stuff like that. Like that's really cool. So I want my character sheet to be a character keeper. And that will make this game feel, I think, communal, because everyone's using the same sheet. And also, yeah. Now, the issue is drawing things is kind of shit online. I've never played the Quiet Year online. The 4 of you I've got, do you have... Oh, Blake, that's another good point. By putting shit in the center, you remove secrets. You remove the concept of secrets. You can't write notes on your playbook that other people can't see. It's there. When you get a move, everyone knows about it, right? So has anyone played The Quiet Year Online and wants to help me out and tell me that like it totally works or it's a mess and Google Drawings isn't functional? Because it's a little bit difficult at the moment. So and then as soon as it looks like no one's, it's barely functional. Fuck. All right. Shit. Okay. Now maybe because I'm just drawing stuff at the beginning, like we're not going to be adding to the map as much as Quiet Year does. It's not going to be a pain in the ass. But it might be. Okay. You know what? Playtest. Only way this is going to get out is by playtesting it. Oh, Michael said good success with Google Drawings. This is good. Pat, even online, I haven't played that. Players Draw. Cool. Was that Google Drawings, mate? Get Lou in your group. Oh man, Lou is my jam, and I would marry that dude in a minute if it wouldn't make Elle incredibly jealous. So history and group building. This is going to be the hardest thing because this is going to be where a lot of the heart is coming. Now, the way that the function that Hex serves is to build, go away bold, is to build immediate obligations. So something that Haley said during our discussion was that she had a bond she didn't like because it didn't build an obligation. It was interesting and it was a cool thing, but it didn't create immediate play. Now, remember, this is all about like building that immediate situation, so immediate obligations. So, what I think I want to do, this is. Remember, we started with a blank Google Doc here, so I don't actually know if this is going to work. What I want to do is I want to do maybe a timeline of like we start with who found the safe house, and maybe they like define a thing or two about it, about it, and then we start with like initial relationships. Let's get some arrows going. Initial relationships, and then we have like maybe like first conflicts or like first scarcities, and then we have like current situation, right? So what I want to do is I want to create questions much like the regular history questions that create these interlocking things and at the same time build stats, I think. So I think what I'll do is the idea that I have, and it's probably a little bit too big an idea for what I want to do. Oh, actually, Blake, good question, good point. So you're talking about Urban Shadows here, which has a beginning of session move. At the beginning of session, you roll with a player spotlights a faction for your character, and then the MC spotlights a faction for your character, maybe. But then you like roll with a faction, and because you want to get XP, you like roll a different ones. Like it's like a thing. The difference between Urban Shadows and this one is that so as much as I love Urban Shadows, and I do, Urban Shadows does this thing where I want to spotlight that faction. Okay, now I'm going to roll the rumor move about something that's to do with my character. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to roll the rumor move for everyone together. I'm trying to make the rumors, I'm trying to make the truths of the game. This is actually really similar to declaring truths in turn candles ish too, in that you like take turns and you like get to say things that are true about the game and people build on them. So okay, so I don't know how many questions I'm going to need, so I'm just going to start writing them until my brain falls out. Pretty much, I think top of my head, I think I need. I think every character needs to. I think every character needs to talk to everyone else once, and I think my stat ranges need to be -1, 0, 1. So you can either be -1 and 1, or you can be 0 and 0. I think. I don't like +2s with the really, really small windows that I have at the moment. But that's an economy thing. That's playtest thing. So that means 2 questions per player, which means 2 questions tying to 2 other characters, right? So it's going to go like this. So 1, it's going to say turn to, and the GM as well. So we've got with GM equals 5 players, each player needs 2 questions, because we need the GM to buy into this as well, right? We need the GM to like pretty bought in because they're going to run the game and they've read the fucking book and stuff, but like we do need this. So each player needs 2 questions. So the GM doesn't get this isn't going to be modular, and that's okay at the moment. Okay. How long have I been going for here? I've been going for just over an hour 10. I want it to be under an hour this tonight. That's obviously not going to happen. So I'm going to take a 3-minute break to 10:40. I'm going to refill my water, and I'm going to think about how I want to start this so that I'm not staring at this blankly for 3 minutes. If you guys want to go away and think about what questions would you ask people to A, find out if they were lucky or gutsy, and B, find out if they were and B, find out like obligations. B, create obligations between people. So that's the plan. That's the idea. I'll see you guys in 3 minutes with some water. All right, it was 2 minutes on my side. I lied. Overpromise, underdeliver. That's what I do. And God, Pat, I'll pass it along. It's the feather on top of the owl's head is like my jam. The whole thing's my jam. Lou's just the best. So I think we're getting to Sid Meier syndrome. I think that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to start writing things here, because Sid Meier, the Civilization guy, said once, there are games in which the computer has all the fun, games in which the player has all the fun, and games in which the developer has all the fun. Sub computer for GM, and you get the problem with some of the RPGs that I've played, which is that there are games where the developer is the one having all the fun, and we as players are like, okay, this is kind of fucked. Like, this is not fun. And there are games where the GM's having all the fun because that's your trad game kind of problem, where like either the GM's having fun because they're running the story, or the players are having fun because they're ruining the GM's story. So the issue is we need to get out of I'm a developer, so I get to have all the fun thing. This is not about me being clever. This is about me providing them opportunities to be clever. So it's going to say play like, so let's call them, let's start with player 1, turn to player 2 and ask them. You were the first of us to find the safe house. What did it look like then? No. What drew your eye to it? Then, by the way, this is Fall of Magic, the thing, I think. This is where like the Fall of Magic is going to be. And then what happens is when they answer, decide if they were more lucky to find this place or brave to risk it. Then tell them to increase their luck or guts by 1 as appropriate. Okay, cool. Great. Format's shitty. It's probably a little bit harder to understand than it needs to be, but whatever, we're doing it. So then player 2, turn to player 1 and ask them, you know what we can do? We can actually generate some immediate what drew your eye to it? No, we're gonna start with scene building. So we're gonna have so many fucking questions here. For each player to get 2, we're gonna have at least 10, right? So we're gonna have so many questions. We can do 1 of scene building. Player 1, turn to player 1, turn to player 3, and ask them. You were the first person I brought back here. Who did you know that was here before me? What happened to them? No, you don't need to know. You don't need to ask who did you know and then what happened to them. You can say, what happened to those you knew were here before me? And then when they answer, decide if. Basically, we're asking the same thing, right? We're asking the same thing about decide if like they're more lucky or gutsy. More lucky or brave. Tell them to increase their luck or guts by 1 as appropriate. Then player 3, turn to player 4 and ask them. You were no. See, we don't want to escalate necessarily, but see, we've got what the safe house is, initial relationships, first conflicts, and a current situation. We've got 4 things. If I make it 5, if I somehow break this down into 5, we can make it 2 questions per segment, right? So let's say safe house, what and where. We say initial relationships. No, we already know like what the safe house is, right? Because no. Oh, is this done before we draw the setting or not? Like I don't know what you mean by the thing. I'd love to tap into that. I'm just not sure what it is. Unless you mean the thing. So safe house. So we're gonna draw the setting first and mark where the safe house is, and then we're gonna talk about what it is later, and then we're gonna talk about what we're in scarcity and abundance of after that. Maybe I think so. Oh, maybe I can integrate. Maybe I can integrate the scarcity and abundance question into these questions. So it's like, um, player one, name the resource that was here when we got here. Like what was in abundance when we got here. Player two, what did we find just outside that we were like, what resource did we find just outside our doors? Player three, what do we have to travel very, very far to get? And then you say, pick one to be in abundance and stuff. The problem is that is not a character question. Unless you say player four, one of these is in abundance. One of them has run out. One of them you were guarding when someone stole. Yeah. Hmm. Idea. It's an idea. Oh, right. Sorry, Blake. I didn't know you're talking about the 80s movie where they're like crowded around the it's like an Arctic station or something, isn't it? God, it's been a while since I've seen the thing. Okay, so you were the first person to notice it. What drew your eye to it? You were the first person I brought back here. Turn to player four and ask them. This is going to be resources, right? This is going to be a resources thing. So it's going to be like, you were the first to find the hidden cache of resources. To find what was hidden in the safe house. How did you find it? What was it and how did you find it? What was it and how did you find it? And how did you find it? What was it and how did you find it? Maybe something about like sharing. I don't know. When they answer, decide if they're more lucky or gutsy. Increase one by appropriate. Man, I love this idea, but it's actually a little bit wordy, so I need to figure out a better way to do it. Okay. So we're going to put that up the top because that's an interesting thing that we'll look at then. Who died so that you could go on? Fucking savage, Blake. Savage. I don't know about death though. I might do like a turn to player two, maybe, and ask them. Oh no, we've got the MC and ask them. This is so hard, and it's so hard because I'm doing it live and I'm not writing good stuff. This is so frustrating. I'm writing B grade shit, and people have to watch me like churn out a mess. And I know that people are like screaming at their screens about like the wording would be so much better if you focused on this. And like Blake's like, who died so that you could go on? I don't like. I really like some of what that does, but I don't want it to be death. I want it to be like obligation. So I want it to be like, who suffered? Like, who did you take stuff from? So maybe it shouldn't be hidden in the safe house, right? Maybe it should be like, you were the first to bring resources back. Who did you take it from? How did you get it? And what was it? What was it? Who did you get it from? And how did you take it? You were the first to make others suffer so that we could survive. Who was it? What did you take from them? And how did you do it? Okay, That's better. But we are drawing a fucking owl here. You were the first to make others suffer so that we could survive. Not so that we could survive. You were the first to make others suffer to ensure that we survived. What did you take from? Who was it? What did you take from them, and how? Who was it? What did you take from them, and how? And then we give them guts or luck, right? And then turn to the MC and ask them, I was the first. I'm saying a lot of firsts. Do I want to keep talking about firsts and then maybe make the last one last? That could be interesting. Let's see. Let's just keep doing and see what we get. I was the first to spot them. No. I was the first to get lost. To get lost in the night. Oh. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is a thing. So instead of giving them luck and guts, the MC is going to give them harm or weariness or something, right? Weariness or something. The MC is going to take resources in this phase. This is part of initial situation, right? You don't start the game with full health and all the scrap in the world and stuff. We're going to start with all the scrap, and then as you play this sub game of Fall of Magic, you're going to lose shit. So I was the first to get lost in the night. What did I encounter on the way home? Not to get lost. Get waylaid in the night. Held up. No, I don't like. I like held up as in being slowed, but not like. I was the first to spend a full night outside the safe house. What did I encounter on the way home? What did I bring home? What did I bring home with me? The question is it like bad memories, a bullet, or like disease or something, right? Like this is what did I bring home with me is going to be like. So remember, one of the key MC responsibilities in this game is control the pacing. So if you want a game that goes hard off the bat, you can say, what did I bring home with me? A fucking bullet. Mark your fucked up condition, son. Like this is real. Kyle, who saved me? Why did they regret it? I'm gonna deaths. Boy, I was supposed to spend a full night outside the safe house. Yeah, I want to use that at some point. Who saved me? Why do they regret it? I'm actually gonna make that. You saved me. Why do you regret it? And I'm gonna make that targeted at another player because that is going to create tonal links between an NPC regretting something is really useful for like soft move fodder, but a player regretting something is that's mean. Okay, I was first to spend a full night outside the safe house. What did I bring home with me? Harm, weariness, or take scrap? Player, so MC, turn to player. So what we need is I need I need a checkbox. I need a sheets.google.com. This is very much a part of my process, Excel spreadsheets and stuff like that, right? So I need player one. Player one. I need player two. I need player three. I need player four. And I need an MC. Thank you, Blake. Enjoy your night. I'm hopefully going to get this done soon. It's just this is the last functional piece of writing I need to do before I can start making this playtestable. So I'm pretty. So this player question one. I'm probably just going to go until this is done, which is unfortunately going to make this like fucking. Okay. Now this is hard because at the moment there are three player MC, player MC, Punnett squares, so that doesn't exist. So at the moment there are three conditions that it could be. It could be player to player, in which case they're getting a plus stat. It could be, oh, I forgot, it's Google Sheets, plus stat. It could be player asking the MC, in which case I'm hurting them. And it could be MC asking the player, in which case I want to hurt them as well. I need this to not be like that because MC asking the player. So that doesn't exist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Okay. MC getting asked player questions doesn't matter because the MC is asserting dominance here. Asserting narrative authority here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 questions that we need to do, which is great. But at the moment, it is column. Wait, I can't remember which one's fucking column, right? At the moment, it is column asks row. So MC asks player question one. Yeah, so that I'm removing. No. Okay. Right, I get it now. So MC question. So it's player question 3 and player question 4. And these are not relevant. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, cool. Same numbers, just a better layout. So at the moment, the issue is MC asking player questions because I want players to assert their own authority, right? So it's like, so the question, instead of player 4 turn to the MC, it's so player 4 has answered. So it's now the MC's turn to turn to player 1. Oh man, I should actually mark these off, shouldn't I? So player 1 asks player 2. Player 2 asks 3. Player 3 asks 4. Player 4 hasn't asked one yet. The MC for that one asks player. All right, so let's figure out this is a rotation. I don't want it to be a clean rotation. I want it to jump around a little bit. So let's say player 3, and then we'll go player. No, not player 3, because player 3 has already asked a question. It needs to jump the link. And then I need player 1 to link with player 4. And then I need player 2 to link with. Player 2 is linked with everyone. And I need player 3 to link with 1. So nope, that should be right. That should be right. That should be that. And that should be that. So player 2 is getting asked 3. So player 1 needs to get asked 1 more. Means player 4 and player 1 ask each other. So we get rid of that one. There's got to be a better way to do this. That can't do that. This is a weird Sudoku puzzle I'm doing. That's dumb too, because that's doing that. So that needs to be that. That needs to be that. That needs to be that, which means that needs to be 4, and that needs to be 2. 2, 2, 4, 4, 3, 3, 1, 1. Everyone's linked. Great. And then these can be really in any order. Great. Okay. Fucking great. Okay. Happy Nats time. So this comes over to my left-hand side and sits there and zooms out because I'm not showing you guys anymore, so I can do things a little bit easier. And then, oh, my Google Docs share. That's fine. So that goes out to there. Okay, I'm really solid now. So player 1 turns to player 4. Player 2 turns to 3. Player 3 turns to 2. Player M. Yeah. Okay, so every 4th question I think is going to be. So it goes P1 to 2. No, not P1 to 2. P1 to 4. I'll bring this up for you then because I'm doing a thing so that I can. So it goes P1 to 4. It goes. We don't need that anymore. God, I hate having to have this for Hangouts. This is probably the least interesting thing I've done on this entire channel, and it's been my head for a while. So it's kind of. And then see this thing is how many do I have again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need to fit 4 inside 8, so I need it to be every 2nd or 3rd. So let's go like that. Put that there, and then we go MCQ1 or MC2 player 2. Player 1. Player 1's been off for a while. Okay, great. Then we do player 3 to 2, player 4 to 1. And then we do MC player 3. And then we do player 1 to 2 and player 2 to 4. And we do MC player. Should really be 3 there, I think. That's fine. And then we do player 3 to 1 and player 4 to 3. And we do MC to player 2. And that, my friends, is how you ask some questions. Oh, fuck me. All right, I'm so bad at this. And this is the thing. This thing about about skill sets and shared skill sets and stuff like that is that the amount of extra packaged skills that make you a better game developer. There are people who are so much smarter than me and who are much better programmers than me, much better coders than me. They would have been able to look at that and come up with a better way of doing it. They would have had the circle and the traveling salesman program, and it would have been phenomenal, and we would have been very proud of them. But we got what we got. Which means we're now ready to write some questions again. So we have put it off long enough. Player 1 turns to 4. Player 2 turns to 3. Okay, so 3 is MC. MC turn to player 1 and ask them, you were the first to spend a night outside. You were the first to spend a night outside the safe house. To spend a night alone outside the safe house. How did you survive the elements? And then give them harm, give them weariness, or take scrap away from them. If they're like, I pulled out a compass or a map that I'd made, you take away scrap. If they're like, I just ran until I was blah, then give them harm. Weariness, yeah, okay. Now this is hard because harm is actually so much fucking worse than everything else. Maybe if they start at like bonds +2 and you take bonds from them. Bonds starts at +1. So you can choose to either lose your bonds, take some weariness, or take some scrap. 4, player 3, turn to player 2 and ask them, you were the first to make others suffer to ensure we survived. Who was it? What did you take from them and how? Goes away. Player 4, turn to player 1 and ask them, you were the first. You were the first to. Oh, man, this is some hardcore road blocking, and I've got like 8 of these left or right. They don't need to be good, okay? They just need to be words. You were the first. All right. You know what? Let's do it this way. Let's go to our moves. Let's see what our moves are. So, what are the conceits we need is you were the first to. Okay, so I have some conceits that need to get into this because this is not just history building, right? This is scenario building. So we need to get conceits of the smugglers, right? Of like the way out, the cost. Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. We also need. Where are my moves? Read the lay of the land. Not interesting. Fill them out. Share what little you have. You were the first to share with. No, you were the first that someone shared with. You were the first to have to share. Interfere. Try to forget the war. Tend to someone's damage. Brave the sniper lines. Go toe to toe. Squirrel away. Escape or overcome the war. Okay. Therefore, turn to player 1. You were the first to. All right, let's talk about tones because I find tones really easy when I'm doing Swords Without Master. That always helps me. So these 2 tones are very positive, friendly, joyful tones. That is a very glum tone. Do I want another glum tone? I guess so, right? Like, you were the first to make others suffer to ensure we survived. Who was it? What did you take from them, and how? And ask them. You were the first to. Oh, that's an idea. You were the first to share with someone else, maybe. No. You were the first to go without, maybe. You were the first to go without. How did you not survive? How did you make it? First to go without. Have to go without. Volunteer. Volunteer to go without. How did you make it? How did you get by after giving up what you deserved? I don't know. I don't like it. We'll figure it out. MC, turn to player 3 and ask them. You were the first to find originally. Why did you stay? That's not bad, Pat. That's not bad at all. Part of those that were here before. I should be looking to follow magic as well for prompts. Oh, you know what I should do? I should not delete this. I should make that another one. So you were the first to. You were the last of those here before us. Why did you stay? Why did they not take you with them? Why did you stay? Why did they not take you with them? That's an idea. You were the first to hear the rifle. How did you get home from the sniper line? From the sniper lines. You were the first to scavenge from the wreckage. What did you bring back to us? What did you bring back to us goes to that, like, what about, no, I do. I want like, what's valuable item? But not commodity. What relic of before the war did you choose to bring back to us? I need another MC one. Turn to player 4 and ask them. You were the first. What other moves do I have? Oh, to be healed or get fucked up or something like that, maybe. You're the first to stash some away for later. Yeah, you were the first to stash some away for later. Where did you hide it so that it remains hidden today? No. See, this is a better question for someone for luck and guts. The MC's questions should be harder than that. And ask them. You were the first to press your skin against another's. Skin against another's. Who did you share your body with? I was gonna say, who did you share your body with, and like, what do they owe you? But man, there is some weird obligation-y shit in there. I do want to generate obligation, and I do want to talk about sex, but man, it is fucking hard to talk about sex and obligation at the moment. It is a difficult topic, to say the least. You were the first to share with someone else. To share your scrap with another. To share your I want to be like to share intimately, right? Who did you who did you grace? And why do you regret it? Who did you grace with what, and why do you regret it? What did you expect it would do? I want to say in return, but I want to be like, what did you expect of them? Probably, what did you foolishly expect of them? Like, is that's a really, this is some loaded stuff going into this. That is a hard question to ask as question 9 of the game. Look, I'm going to put it down and then I'm going to come back to it if I need to. So, you were the first to scavenge from the wreckage. What relic of before the war did you choose to bring back to us? You were the first to have brought something from home. You were the first to show us what you brought from home. What you rescued from home. Is it? How did you get it here unscathed? 12. This is the last MC question. Turn to player 2 and ask them. And this is where we want to jump like straight into scenario shit, right? About like turn to player 2 and ask them. You were the first to piss them off. What did you do? How do you tell the others that they're coming? How do you tell the others what you've done? What you've done. Maybe. All right, cool. Well, the thing is, this is functional now. It's not the only thing I not hate about it. The only thing I don't like about it is this line is different. How do you and who made you realize your mistake? That's a bad one. So what I'm doing with vulnerability in sharing is in this move here. When you share what little you have, you roll plus bonds, set your bonds to 0. On a mix, someone gets like really like connected and gets some wonderful stuff, and the low person like gets regrets and bad things and like finds out about all the terrible stuff. Who would you rather I was? Maybe I can do something like that. So you were the first to share intimately. How did you reveal your vulnerability, and who made you realize your mistake? How did you make yourself vulnerable, and who made you realize it was a mistake? All right. And how did they make you realize it was a mistake? Make you realize? How did they show you? How did they show you your mistake? How did they make you realize your mistake? These get really wordy. I just try and cut them down like just by a word or two. It's very 200 word RPG stuff. When I'm cutting down things like this. How did you make yourself vulnerable, and how did they make you realize your mistake? Cool. Yes, first, where did you hide it so that it remains hidden today? You're the first to show us what you rescued from home. What is it? And how did you get it here unscathed? I think this needs to be earlier. I think that is an earlier question. Take bonds, take weariness, or take scrap. Take bonds, weariness, scrap. Okay, good enough. So, what's 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 is player 1. Turn to player 2 and ask them. Now, this is hopefully going to be enough to get us to generate a starting scenario, right? Like it's turn to player 4. Ugh, gross. That's fine. Therefore, can get 2 questions asked in a row. Player 3, turn to player 1 and ask them. Player 4 and to player 3 and ask them. Someone will come up with like a better way of doing this. See, Pat, look after yourself. Thank you for being amazing as always. Very, very useful input today from people, which is just great. Because this is the stuff I would have gotten if I was writing it myself. I would have just gotten bogged down in. Now, this isn't great. All right, this is what I need everyone to realize. This isn't great, but it's functional, and functionality is something that is useful because I can playtest this now, and I can see what gets reactions, and I can see what doesn't, and I can playtest it like 3 or 4 times, and I can see what's giving people different ways of approaching situations and what's forcing people to play in the same sandbox all the time. So these questions are functional. They need to build a better situation. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. But we need to do better, and we might be able to integrate these resources and sketching terrain thing, which resource and sketching terrain has to come in because that's the collaborative bit. It's got to come in above the individual bit. So we create terrain, then we create characters. So we have an agenda, then we create a location, then we create characters, and then we create history between those characters. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I really like the dready questionnaire kind of thing of like, let's talk about what we've done in this position, and if you got it by being lucky, you get +1 to luck, and if you got there by being brave, you get +1 to guts, and you get 2 questions, so you get to be a little bit lucky and a little bit brave, or all lucky, or whatever. But the thing is, so this is what I was talking about the playbook's responsibility is to make the game accessible. You should be able to play this sub game of like asking questions and telling stories without I just wondered if it was like if I could do like a tone dice thing, like a Swords Without Mastery tone dice thing. It might be too much for it's too much. If I need more, I need more, and I can do more. I can always add more. So you can do this history building based on like not just understanding the conceit, which means you can build the game just by understanding the conceit, which means moves become part of the negotiation, not pre-reading, which is my intent. It's a little bit difficult to explain because it's like a new thing and stuff like that. But it's a thing at least. So my playbook at the moment involves an agenda, situation creation, 4 characters worth of room, and history group building. Now, The situation creation is going to have to go on a separate map. That's pretty easy. And the like intro questions are going to have to be on a separate page as well. So the thing is, I try to keep it as much as possible to. Here's another thing Fellowship does really poorly. Every playbook is 2 double-sided, triple-columned pages. I hate it. I hate it. I love Monster Hearts' single double-sided page. Single double-sided page. 1 double-sided A4 page. I don't mind. I think Apocalypse World is so Apocalypse World 2E is a single double-sided page. 1E was triple columned, I think, and sucked. And that's the thing is I want to keep everything as much as possible to like a double-sided page. So you can give players a double-sided page, which on one side has moves, and on the other side has like, oh, stash. I need a place for stash. So that's got to go on the thing under stash. Oh, and scrap. So shared scrap has to go on there. So shared. Oh, okay. So we're finding a bunch of stuff now that I'm actually thinking about this game mechanically. We're in a strix. We need scrap, and we need wounds, and we need all this sort of stuff, right? So scrap's really easy because it's the only thing that's shared, and it's going to be really honestly. So scrap's really easily there. The rest of it's easy. Okay, cool. So I think what we have now is a functional single playbook. Mechanical necessities, stats, principles, names, pronouns, history, building, situation, creation. Great. So it's got write down your characters' names, their pronouns, have a box for guts, luck, and bonds, have a weariness track, have a track for stash, have a shared track for scrap. History and group building, this is going to have to be pretty much its own page, which I'm okay with. Then there's the map, which we do. So I can fit the front of the page is all the play data. The back of the page is all the group building and instructions on how to draw the map. Done. I think that's really easy. All right. Well, there you go. That's playbook design. It doesn't look like much now. It will take me a bit of time in whatever I'm using, whatever Jesse Ross told me to use. And I'm going to make it happen, and it's going to be great. But for now, it's 11:30. I am still full of ramen, and I am the sleepiest of bears. This is unfortunately not yet fun. That's like a really important part. This is not yet fun. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be fun. It just means it's not yet. And when I playtest this in July, we're going to have some answers. Now, quick thing. Over the next 7 days, I'll be talking with Popper, with Philip Wessels, about Pack of Strays. And hopefully we're going to talk about being Pride Month. We're going to talk about a lot of queer and sexy stuff in games. I want to talk to him about a lot of the really heavy like sex's obligation, sex's dominance, and like sexual dominance as social dominance in Pack of Strays. Stuff I'm really, really, really excited to talk to him about. And given that he's written now 2 games or a game and a DLC pack on these topics, I think it's going to be something that he's really keen to talk about as well. I've got about 3 or 4 other people I'm in talks with at the moment, but haven't got anyone lined up. So if you have anyone that's interested in talking to me about games, please get in touch. Otherwise, this has been an absolute joy. A huge thanks. Yeah, no, thanks, Carl. Like, I really appreciate your work too. You were an awesome help. I was really stoked to not only talk a bit about playbooks, but to have I've got something down now, and I can now do this. Like, it's actionable now. Pack of Strays is great. I haven't played it yet. I'm really keen to do that before I speak to him. But Kyle, thank you to you and to Pat and to Blake and to like everyone that's gonna message me or tweet at me in the next however long and work with me on this one. It's such this is such a blast. I'm so relieved that I got this down and then I pushed through that massive speed bump of like staring at those questions and hating them. And I still hate so many of them, but at least I can put them in front of people that I trust, people that are going to make excellent games out of them. I'm really excited. So thank you, and to not only you, Kyle, but to all of my little owlets. You can and you will make things fun. Just keep giving a hoot. Enjoy your night.